Hey, what's up guys? We are back, and in this video we're going to be discussing CryEngine and the possibility of it coming to the Nintendo Switch and being supported on the platform. So if you do enjoy this discussion, please hit the like button and subscribe for more, and let's go ahead and get started. As we know, the Switch has been out for a little bit over a year, and we know it's been very popular for indie developers, and it's been great for first-party games, and of course there is some Unreal Engine 4 games that are announced for the Switch as well that we know about. And Unreal Engine 4 has been the main third-party engine that we have been discussing for the past year that we can see developers taking advantage of with the Switch, because Unreal Engine 4 is very scalable. It goes to many different platforms. It can even go to mobile platforms. It even worked on Xbox 360. It's a very scalable engine. And of course, we just talked about Ark Survival Evolved running on the Nintendo Switch on Unreal Engine 4, the latest version of it. And the results in that pre-alpha build were quite amazing, you have to admit, right? So then the question then arises, what other engines, quite possibly, could come to the Nintendo Switch besides Unreal Engine 4? Unreal Engine 4 seems to be the most used of all of these engines. But what about other engines, such as the CryEngine, for example? Now, granted, Crytek, the company, has had some very difficult financial problems over the past few years, but they still are making games, and they still are in business, and they still have the very customizable and scalable CryEngine available to developers to use. And even though Crytek is not making many games, many developers are using the CryEngine to make their games, including some notable games such as Prey from 2017, which was pretty popular with people, and of course Sniper Ghost Warrior 3 used the CryEngine. That also came out last year. And Homefront Revolution came out in 2016, that used the CryEngine. And the recently just released Kingdom Come Deliverance also uses the CryEngine as well. And this is all CryEngine 3 that it uses. So keep that in mind, because CryEngine 3 was also used on the Xbox 360 to port Crysis 3 on that system. So that comes to the information at hand then. What about CryEngine on the Nintendo Switch? Does it have the chance of coming to the Switch in the future? And it looks like the answer is yes. Now, this information was discovered on Twitter by bad5.com, and a discussion arose on Twitter about the history of Crytek and CryEngine and how scalable the engine was going to be. Way back in 2012 and 2014, they were talking about all this, advancement for the CryEngine and how it's going to go to mobile devices. There's a lot of big plans for the CryEngine. Of course, Unreal Engine 4 has been a lot more popular than the CryEngine, and after they hit those financial difficulties, it kind of went downhill a little bit from there, but it still is in use. So a user on Twitter made a statement stating that, oh, if only CryEngine supported the Nintendo Switch. And that's all they said. And then just 3 days later, CryEngine's main Twitter account replied, and here's exactly what they said in reply to this statement. They said, "We would love to support all platforms, but we have no details right now. Stay tuned to our official channels for any updates on this in the future." Be sure to check out our roadmap at CryEngine.com. So here we have CryEngine's official Twitter account saying right there regarding the Nintendo Switch that they have no details right now on that, but to stay tuned for any updates on this in the future in regards to the Nintendo Switch support. Now, the reason why this caught my eye was because this user on Twitter, they did not even tag the CryEngine's Twitter account asking them directly, are you guys going to be bringing CryEngine to the Nintendo Switch? This is not what they did. All they did is make a statement to this other user about the CryEngine, and then the CryEngine account comes tweeting in 3 days later. Obviously they noticed this and they wanted to respond, even though this wasn't even a question. They made a statement all by themselves about the Nintendo Switch getting support in the future. So this is very interesting, and it caught my eye because of that, because normally a developer or a company like this would not go out of their way to answer this type of response. Normally it would be like in an interview where they're asked directly about it and they're kind of evasive, saying, well, we don't know, and but this was not even a question. They came right in and they gave their own statement on it without even being asked. So that was very interesting to me, and granted, this is not a confirmation that the Switch is getting CryEngine support in the future, but it does leave hope out there, quite obviously, because they're making this statement themselves, to stay tuned about this in the future. So they may be working on something that could work for the Nintendo Switch. Now remember what I said earlier in the video is that CryEngine 3 does work on Xbox 360, so obviously the Nintendo Switch could support this engine. It is possible. It's just a matter of then putting it on the system. And there's some games I would like to see, for example, on the Switch that use CryEngine, and that would be Crysis 1, 2, and 3. I think a remastered trilogy released on the Switch would be really cool to have on the system. There isn't really any AAA third-party first-person shooters on the Nintendo Switch. I think that would be really cool to have that trilogy on the system. It could also open the door for other games as well. The CryEngine is alive and being used by developers to make games still. So I do think the CryEngine would be an added benefit to the Nintendo Switch. And since the company isn't as big as Epic, developers could use this engine on the Switch to even make their own games running on it as well. And this is a very nice engine. It uses all the modern effects, and games in the past that have supported this engine, like CryEngine 3, have run very well. Like on Xbox 360, it ran Crysis 3 very well for what it was pushing on the system. I think the Switch could do something similar like that. Alright guys, so let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Would you be excited to see a CryEngine support on the Nintendo Switch? Would you want to see a Crysis 1, 2, and 3 remaster on the Switch? Would you like to see other new games that came out in the last few years on the Switch as well, like Homefront? Or maybe even Warface, the free-to-play online first-person shooter that came out in 2013. That game could show up on the Switch as well. There's lots of games like that that could use the CryEngine and be ported to the Switch. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. So if you did enjoy it, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Twitter, and I'll talk to you guys very soon in the next video. Have a great day.